All right, guys, it is time for the grand finals of the entire DreamHack Masters StarCraft 2 Winter. Top left side, we're looking at the main base of the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Latin America. It is a SpeCial.
Looking to shake things up after an incredibly clean series against a very strong opponent in his own right. It is Kelazhur. Oh, good music.
Excellent music.
Yeah, this is good. Good momentum going.
I'm feeling it. Oh, yes, we're not stopping.
Oh, not stopping anytime soon. And there's double gases as well to celebrate that intro on either side, actually, Roddy.
Double gas, going to be safe, going to have quick access to these factories. I'm really curious to see what kind of strategies we are going to see in this best of 7. If you guys joined us a little bit later in this broadcast, we actually casted a TVT already earlier today on the main stream between Uthermo and Milky Cow, and those games are honestly worth watching. They were both very fun. I thought they were exciting from the beginning to the end, and I hope we get to see some more of that TVT craziness in this grand final.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And it was particularly cool because Milky Cow was kind of not playing the normal TVT where he was like actively contesting for the air, but rather really going for mass bio and just like forfeiting the air when he wanted to and moving all over the place. And I feel like Kelazhur could use a little bit of inspiration and kind of break that mold, because if he goes toe-to-toe with SpeCial on every one of these fronts, he usually, loses.
Well, he said, let's just hope it's closer than last time. And I'm pretty sure that he can make it closer than last time. Because after you play such a impressive, no other way to put it, best of 5 against Champ, that's got to give you some momentum. That's got to give you the feeling that you're on fire. He really didn't break a sweat there. He's going to dive into the natural and is already going to pick up the first SCV. Now, obviously, that does mean that SpeCial is Reaper on the other side of the map. Could potentially do the same thing, but SpeCial not paying attention. This is a great start for Kelazhur.
Very, very good. I thought that SCV was going to go down for sure. And I was actually going to say, well, SpeCial gets the better end of that because Kelazhur actually took the SCV with him to try and give him an edge in the Reaper fight. But as it stands, Kelazhur gets the pick off and SpeCial doesn't. And this is fantastic for him.
Pretty interesting to see that both of them are that adventurous and ambitious with their first Reaper, because it always feels that, you gotta be worried about some openings where they can maybe flank your single Reaper, then you lose momentum, and both of them went command center on the low ground as well. Maybe they're just feeling really safe with that double gas and they'll be like, what's the worst that could happen? That my command center gets delayed for a few seconds. I'll survive, I guess.
Yeah, and we have exactly that situation unfolding. Now the first deviation as Kelazhur is getting a Cyclone out. I'm not really sure. I guess this is just kind of a good, well, all-rounded unit in this early game. And that's going to make way for a Banshee. I was actually maybe expecting Raven there.
I feel like Kelazhur replied or responded a little bit later. He does drop a couple of grenades and that's going to keep his unit safe for now. And he raises the D-pulse. That obviously means that the SCVs on the low ground are in a bit of trouble, but that could have been a lot worse, because imagine if those units just drive into the main base. Sure, the Cyclone is there to save the day, but it takes a little while. I think Kelazhur is okay with only losing 3 SCVs there.
Yeah, expert maneuver as well from SpeCial to turn around and snipe a unit, knowing that the lockdown of the Cyclone would be on cooldown. So really making work of whatever he has to work with here. And I think it's, still small advantages here and there from Kelazhur, but it really comes down to these Banshees, Roddy. Can they get some damage done?
It's a bit unfortunate there that the lock-on was broken by Kelazhur because he moved out of vision. Indeed. I don't think SpeCial's aware of the fact there is a Banshee on the way, right? Nope. So maybe if Kelazhur can stay active with his Reaper Cyclone out on the map, maybe you can pull the Cyclone from SpeCial out of position, and that should allow the Banshee to be a bit more successful than it otherwise would be.
Yeah, that is something that Kelazhur has to be very mindful of, because he knows that there is a Cyclone out, and that is, Banshees are part of the reason why you make the Cyclone in the first place. This Reaper already being way too annoying.
Yep, and getting way too much damage as well, right? This Reaper is just supposed to scout, not really do anything else. Gets 3 SCVs. Yeah, that's more than it should be. Now, there is a Reaper in the main base as well. From SpeCial, and this time Kelazhur is going to be the one getting a couple of SCV kills. That Banshee has shown up in the natural. Cyclone gets the lock on those. Cyclone gets the kill. that's simply not good enough for Kelazhur.
Not at all. I love the idea from Kelazhur because he actually waited for the Reaper to go in with the Banshee, but he didn't wait long enough, right? I think you want to see the units react. You want to see the Cyclone already cross onto the main before maybe committing for the Banshee into the natural. So maybe a little bit too overeager to get damage done, and instead is going to get punished to start.
Yeah. No, worker-wise, we are dead even. 37 apiece. The only main advantage, I think, for SpeCial here, and the big one, is that his command center, the third command center, is pretty much done. Well, as Mapu is showing us in the main base of Kelazhur, that command center isn't even halfway done, so that should translate into a nice economic advantage for Juanito down the line. Maybe Kelazhur can buy some time with his army. I gotta say, though, the armies are incredibly similar, so it seems hard to really make plays happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The both players even have double Raven, so it's going to be difficult to kind of go with those tanks. Now, this could be a blessing in disguise for Kelazhur. I think that given that his CC is a little bit later, he should have had a little bit more production to work with. I'm surprised that it's SpeCial kind of moving out in spite of the scan and seeing that his CC is so much faster.
Well, SpeCial's playing mech, and that may be the reason, but I'm totally with you. And I don't think that Kelazhur is expecting this, though. He does have a single spotter marine on the bottom side that is about to see this army, but now Kelazhur is already out of position, and SpeCial throws on the scan. He's like, well, you've got a lot of stuff over here. This is weird, right? Like, why is this army of SpeCial here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. After that scan onto the third base of Kelazhur, I think he could have just sat back. However, it ends up working well because Kelazhur is forced to pull back himself and delay his own attack as this Raven gets shoved off and is now gonna try to apply some pressure and kill some more SCVs of Kelazhur. So piling on the aggression, 5 SCVs go down, and SpeCial not just with a faster third already established, but 10 worker lead as well.
And he's playing mech. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, at least that Cyclone is going to get the lock on the Raven, so the Raven goes down, but that was still a successful Raven. A lot of lost mining time, and Kelazhur losing a whole bunch of SCVs as well. I mean, it's insane. It should be the other way around. The bio player should be up 10 workers. The bio player should be up to 3 bases quicker. And the mech player is supposed to be kind of safe and careful and very cautious with, like, moving that command center on location. I'm not feeling this for Kelazhur.
It's very, very difficult. I was gonna say, well, at least that Raven going down gives Kelazhur a Raven advantage, but not even. It's just 2-2. So SpeCial still has an ability to kind of get rid of these tanks to disable them, as he also gets the better siege just slightly earlier to pick off the one tank that was in range.
Yep. This doesn't look very promising. Now the other turrets go down as well. One Raven could go down. No, the Ravens don't go down yet. In the end, one Raven does finally fall. Not the one I expected to go down, but SpeCial is really weathering the storm here without any issues.
Yeah, so far so good for him. And he also has a hefty Viking lead now, so he's going to retain that air control. It's going to be very difficult to poke into this area. I mean, we were talking about it in the CVT matchup. It's kind of similar in TVT. It's going to be very difficult to breach these 3 bases, which is kind of why I really like SpeCial going for mech on this map.
Yep. I gotta say, I'm glad I'm not a Terran player when I see people just sit on tank Viking. This seems really frustrating to play against.
Yes, indeed. All right, Kelazhur is going to look for a strong siege position here. SpeCial actually a little bit late to the siege, but there's not that much for Kelazhur, and all the air is gone on the side of the Brazilian. The tanks have been dislodged from SpeCial, but there is so much remaining that maybe he can brute force. This is not the way, however, and the Vikings landing. There's still many Marines to output DPS, but great focus fire from SpeCial will get rid of the contingency of tanks.
Yeah, I gotta say, that was a great scan by Kelazhur, right when SpeCial moved those tanks a bit quicker, so he really was forced to land those Vikings. Otherwise, he would have just lost those tanks, not gain anything. At first, I really wasn't feeling it for Kelazhur. Then I was like, well, one of the tanks is in range of the SCVs. The thing is, though, SpeCial was floating money during all of that. Like, maybe the pressure was getting to him. Maybe he's still waking up. Who knows? He's, of course, over in Korea, where it's still very early. But as soon as he really puts that money to use, then I think once again, SpeCial will have a pretty hefty army supply advantage.
Yeah, with that said, Kelazhur is all caught up worker-wise, and SpeCial did have a little bit of a lead and the earlier third to work with, so that's nice for him. He at least has something to work with. He has an army out on the map that's potentially going to be looking to deny or delay the next base from SpeCial. So yeah, I don't dislike this too much for Kelazhur. Not as bad as it was looking earlier, but he still has a lot of room to work he has to make use of his mobility to try and situate himself with more bases than SpeCial ASAP.
You know, I feel like I've seen Gabe in the past when he goes up against this kind of stuff. Just go basically 3 base bio, 1-1 upgrades, and then just expand on location, take the entire map. Oh, SpeCial not paying attention there. A bit of move command, loses a couple of units. Kelazhur does get out of there once the tanks do siege up, but I wish that bio players just take more advantage of the fact that the mech player is kind of giving up map control, right, for a while. I know SpeCial's a bit active here, but I want to see the bio player expand so much quicker than they do.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was an opportunity there for Kelazhur. As much as SpeCial was not paying attention for a second, neither was Kelazhur. The stim was late. I feel like there could have been an opportunity there to kind of pounce on those siege tanks. But as it stands, SpeCial has gained a lot on the map and has taken control of this middle area, which is a difficult thing to do with mech, right? It's generally a slower army.
Yeah. So this is kind of what I mentioned. Even though Kelazhur is getting 2 upgrades, as once again Juanito sending a few units too far forward. Look at that production. Already double starport going up in the main bases. We have some Liberator arrests happening in the natural as well. And at the same time, SpeCial's getting great trades in the center. That one single Liberator that we saw in Euthermo against Milky Cow really making all the difference.
Yeah, extreme confidence from SpeCial here, who actually is the one to break the rocks. I would have thought that the bio player benefits a lot more from those rocks being broken, but with this many tanks, I mean, engage me 360. I do not care, says the Mexican, as Kelazhur is going to get pinned back.
Yep. That Liberator does finally go down. Kelazhur is going to show up with his own Vikings as well and should be able to win this fight. And hey, if you kill the Vikings, you can kill the Medevacs too. And then all of a sudden, he's the one with air control. And the most important thing for Kelazhur is he didn't take any economic damage yet, right there?
Yeah, and this is beautiful, Roddy, because as soon as he does that, he recognizes the position and he starts one Liberator. And we saw how effective that was earlier, for example, for Marine Lord. If there is no air control on the side of the mech player, the one Liberator could actually deal with all of these tanks.
Rally point a little bit messed up there though. Those Marauders kind of just pushing each other into their death. Now SpeCial going very far forward. A couple of tanks will still siege up for Kelazhur. Can he at least keep his tanks alive? The answer is no. And that's bad news.
No, he cannot. Yeah, and these Vikings don't even want to land because they're so important for the Liberator that's coming. So that is within the plans of Kelazhur. This game could still potentially turn around. There's 3 Liberators in production, 1 already out, but it's about how much damage will he take before that.
If only all those bio units didn't go down for no reason, right? They were just on the edge and they kind of pushed each other in range of the tanks of SpeCial. Because SpeCial can never make the move he just made with a couple of tanks just on siege, rolling forward into the tanks of Kelazhur. If there are 4 or 5 Marauders and a couple of Marines in the mix, you cannot be making those kinds of movements. Now, Kelazhur is going to chase this army down and try to grab a couple of siege tanks for his efforts.
Yeah, that's basically the Liberators just chasing them back. So you're absolutely right. He was on a timer. The attack of SpeCial was on a timer. So all Diego had to do was kind of just keep his army alive to make it so that SpeCial couldn't just pounce on further. And then once the Liberator's out, you're always going to push your opponent away.
Yep. Kelazhur still does have a good work account. So if this game can just stabilize for a minute, then I do think our Brazilian Terran player, who's currently in the Netherlands, this is truly an international broadcast, right? It's Brazil against Mexico, but the Mexican is in Korea. And the Brazilian one is in Europe. Yep. And we're playing it. Playing online, casted by a Peruvian and a Dutchman. None of this makes any sense, but this is StarCraft.
This is StarCraft indeed. It is the Latin American finals. And now I love what Juanito is doing. He's adding some Thors, right? He's saying, all right, you got the air control for a little while there. He did invest into some additional Vikings, and I'm surprised that Kelazhur hasn't been adding more Vikings of his own at this point. But the Thors are going to be really the chunky response that SpeCial goes and says, okay, if you win that air control, at least I'll have something else to fall on.
This bottom base feels a little bit exposed. I'm happy to see bio units are here to save the day, but a lot of those SCVs are so low on HP that even a single shot of these Blue Flame Hellions is enough to take them down, and 12 SCVs fall just like that. If you're nowhere near maxed out, it is very painful to lose those workers.
Yeah, advanced ballistics is going to be a very important tool here for Kelazhur, though he is obviously very far behind ship weapons compared to the mech of SpeCial upgrade wise. So SpeCial is pushing on forward now. There's a lot of Liberators, but these Thors and the few Vikings as well that can deal with the Vikings of Kelazhur more than anything else could be very scary. These Liberators will pick off some tanks to start off though, Roddy.
Yeah, but not that many because the lock-ons were absolutely perfect on the side of SpeCial. I don't know if he just targeted the lips, but that really couldn't have gone any better. Locks on the final tank as well. And now I look at what Kelazhur has left. That is a very beat-up bio army. A single stim basically means that every single unit in that army gets one-shotted. And I think we're looking at the beginning of the end of game 1 here.
Yeah, it does not look pretty. All these units are going to go down. And with that, I think Kelazhur is going to have to tap out.
Where do you think that mostly went wrong for Kelazhur? Was it the early game? Was it the push on the top left side? Was it the Raven that did a bit too much damage? Like, I'm not exactly sure.
For me, I think it was an aggregate of the early game, like where SpeCial had a little bit of a lead. But I think that Kelazhur, with the very good decision to go for the Liberator after killing the heir of SpeCial, had a possibility to come back and just kind of push that back and reset the game. But unfortunately, he suicided that bio army that you were talking about.
Yeah,
I think that's where.
Yeah, that was a bit painful. I mean, obviously a very stressful situation, right? There's so many things happening, units coming in from every angle. You know, to go back to what I was mentioning during that game, I feel like I've seen Hero Marine play against Terran players who sometimes play like this. Then I saw him just basically go 3 base, you know, 1-1 bio, and then you indeed get the extra star points, and he's just expanding everywhere on location, and then he kind of overwhelms with the bio or the sort of sky army, I guess, the sky Terran army, and then eventually just goes back into whatever. Maybe Kelazhur was doing a few too many things because he had that idea, but then he was getting the 2-2 upgrades on the bio as well, and maybe if you just do too many things at once, you can't really afford it, I guess.
Yeah, especially when you're a little bit behind, right? The early game definitely went in favor of SpeCial, like all the little pokes went in favor of SpeCial, and like you were saying, he was the mech player with the better economy to start off. So a little bit difficult for Kelazhur to play catch up from that point on, I think, but he did a really good job, and he's a very intelligent player, so I would love to see him pull ahead instead and see if he can retain that advantage instead. I think it's definitely a doable thing.
Yep, the second map of this grand finals is going to be played on Oxide. I say second map, but obviously this means that now SpeCial has a 2-0 lead, so in a way you can say it's the third map already. This is kind of a must-win though, because like falling 0-3 against SpeCial, I think we all kind of know where that goes. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm tired. It's been a long day over here already.
Yeah.
Played a lot of games today, so I really do feel this is a must-win for Kelazhur.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're the player here and you're the underdog on top of it, and you feel like, you know, you always lose to this guy, which Kelazhur kind of does, then, you know, once you're down 0-3, it's just done, right? Like the possibilities that you win 4 in a row are just maybe a little bit too much. So let's see if Kelazhur can bring it back. Oxide is another tanky map, I would say, just as far as like the amount of rocks and positioning for those annoying siege attacks. So yeah, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those tank Viking builds on this map as well. And I think Thermal even did it against Seoul on the previous playday of DreamHack Masters Europe. I wouldn't be surprised to see SpeCial just do it all over again. I feel like this was popular a long time ago and people stopped doing it. And then we just saw like bio against bio, and then we saw the battle mech for a while, but I don't like tank Viking, man. I'm gonna be honest. I can feel the pain of the bio player when I see people just go tanks and Vikings. Like, it's so hard to engage.
You really have to carve yourself such a strong advantage. I really thought when SpeCial broke those rocks in the middle of the map, if Kelazhur had an advantage leading into that, that would have been so cool because he could have 360'd, and that's like where I see bio maybe working. But yeah, it's never pretty seeing Marines run into tank lines for sure.
I think the start really needs to be perfect for Kelazhur. You know what I find so fascinating is that Kelazhur just looked flawless, like absolutely on point against Chem. It feels like he was always one step ahead. He was just a bit quicker. And whenever Chem would react to something, Kelazhur was already setting up the next play. Then he goes up against SpeCial. And I don't want to say he looked slow, but all of a sudden it looked like he was the one catching up to the moves that SpeCial was making, right? Like all these little army movements in the beginning, the Reaper skirmishes, the Raven flying into the main base. It's like, how is that possible? How many levels are there to this game?
Like a lot, man. But yeah, I mean, Kelazhur is a fantastic player. I would say what Nate said last week, I really liked. TVT is just one of those matchups where it's so difficult, even if you have a little bit of a lead, to capitalize on it, to snowball it, right? So it's always a difficult matchup, I think, for the underdog, and it's you know, it's difficult to be underdog against someone like SpeCial. He's just such a solid macro player. He doesn't mess around, you know. He's not gonna throw in a curveball to allow you to come back in. He's just gonna play his game, and he's gonna do it damn well.
Alrighty, let's see what Oxide will bring us as we are ready to hop into Game 3 of the Grand Finals of DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Winter Latin America. In the top right side, we're looking at the main base of the Brazilian Terran player. He's down 0-2, needs to win this one to keep his tournament dreams alive. It is Kelazhur.
And the bottom left-hand side, the blue Terran playing for Exxon. Does he even need your Doritos at this point? I'm not sure. It is SpeCial.
If he doesn't need them, I'll take him. I definitely don't need them, looking at my current shape. But do I want them, cats? Yes, I want all the Doritos.
Ooh, spicy, Roddy. We have a second barracks coming down for Kelazhur here.
No, I'm just thinking of Doritos extra hot, nacho cheese, flaming hot, spicy. What have you done to me, cats?
I'm so sorry. All I had to do with the Doritos was smell the ranch Doritos, and I was like, yeah, no more. They smell so bad.
What? The cool
Oh, the
American?
ranch Doritos. Yeah, I don't like them. I don't like the smell.
I wish I could say that I share that opinion, but I don't. All right, so double Reaper. This time SpeCial is SCV scouting. So that SCV shouldn't make it into the main base, though. That'd be a big mistake.
Shouldn't be able to check. Can he check the barracks though?
No,
Oh, gonna make.
no. Why does he let that happen? Like, I feel like these things are so important already. Seems like SpeCial's not too worried about the double barracks opening, though. Just dropping the command center on the low ground.
Yeah, that's a little bit sketch, but at the same time, I mean, what Kelazhur was really looking to punish was a move out with the Reaper. There's no chance that SpeCial moves out with this Reaper now, right?
No.
Like, because that's how you really get the snowball, is if this Reaper moves out and gets caught by two Reapers. Instead, he's gonna have it defensively. I would love to see a bunker or something of the sorts from SpeCial, but maybe Kelazhur doesn't even commit, right? Because he's been scouted.
But I feel like if he doesn't commit at all, he's always going to fall behind. So he's going to try his luck. There is the bunker you asked for. Reaper skirmish. Good focus fire there by SpeCial. Excellent. Takes care of the SCV as well. And that SCV was kind of providing free high ground vision. Obviously, that's no longer the case. And I think you're right. Kelazhur has to give up on the Reaper dream immediately.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to have to happen here as he drops his own command center on location. Of course, this is not game ending, but it's never pretty to get a disadvantage against a player that you feel already unfavored against, and you're down 0-2 against. SpeCial is even going to consider chasing that Reaper, but I mean, he's in a fantastic position already, or at least a good one.
Yeah, perfect unit placement by SpeCial there. Kelazhur is going to try it one more time. Please do not commit. Okay, this time he just kind of got close. He's like, do I get shot at? You know what would have been sick if SpeCial would have pressed hold position there. Because then Kelazhur may think that the coast is safe and clear. And then he goes for it. And then he loses the Reaper again.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. As it definitely takes a little bit of animation time to jump through those ledges. We have now Kelazhur producing from 2 barracks at a time. Neither barracks really with add-ons, which is a little bit surprising. But that hasn't slowed him down too much. On the other side, SpeCial is at least not going for a third command center like he's been going for. What happened?
SpeCial just killed another Reaper and did a fantastic job in keeping his own Reaper alive. Literally saving it like one hit away. And twice I was like, he's overcommitting, but he was not. And now he's just going to repair his Hellion. Not the biggest of deals because those Reapers weren't really going to get much done anymore. But beautiful micro by Juanito.
Yes, indeed. Juanito is indeed going for a Banshee, though, and he has also the Cloak on the way. So this could be a way back for Kelazhur if he has his Cyclone in place, or if he manages to catch that Banshee. That could be kind of the redeeming move where he kind of catches back up.
Well, this is a great scout. Reaper just casually hops into the main base, passes those Marines, might even get an SCV for its troubles. Really wants it, gets it, and gets the good scout on the Cloak Banshee, but immediately Juanito cancels Cloak. That's actually kind of funny, because he was researching that for quite some time already.
Yes, indeed. He's also going to start a Raven. The Banshee is out, however, and will cross the map. There is a Cyclone, but Juanito knows where the Cyclone is as well, as the Reaper has spotted it. So Kelazhur has to reposition that Cyclone somewhere where a Special is not going to be expecting it.
Yeah, I think at this point, SpeCial is hoping that he can force out a couple of turrets as well. And it's like, what if I just wait and pretend like I'm waiting for Cloak to finish up? There's a lot of Marines. That's okay, and he's going to force out a turret or two. So that works out perfectly.
Yeah, that works out well. Kelazhur, in the meanwhile, has been saving a little bit of scan. This Banshee will be pushed away. And yeah, things will kind of stabilize as both players prepare to expand. Actually, yeah, and it's SpeCial once again with a faster third. This seems like a little bit of a theme, Roddy.
Yeah, way faster. But it makes sense this game, right? Because of the double barracks opening against the single barracks.
Yeah, most definitely. It's not a trend that I like to see on the side of Kelazhur, right? It's been Juanito with the macro advantages every game so far.
I don't know if you have this as well, but I always cheer a little bit for the underdog because, you know, SpeCial has won the previous 2 seasons, and I have no issues with SpeCial winning it again because if he's the best player in this region, it is what it is. But at least I want to see, you know, Kelazhur take a couple maps and really make him sweat for it. But so far, I don't think Juanito's doing any sweating in this best of 7.
Yeah, not from the games anyway, for certain.
Yeah, then what would he be sweating from? I highly doubt it's very hot in Korea this time of the year, Kat.
I wouldn't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's summer in Korea. I really don't know, right?
No, what? It's freezing cold, mate.
Oh, okay. He's definitely not sweating then.
Okay, maybe it gets a little bit colder in like January, February, but I'm pretty sure it's at least chilly, okay?
Okay, well, okay, the Banshee gets taken down. So that is something. Kelazhur trying to carve up some space here with his army, but will not find it as Juanito is expertly positioned as per usual.
Yeah, I like being active out with units out on the map anyway, because then it's more likely that you force some mistakes out of your opponent. If you're SpeCial, you know, an army is there. I mean, there's a tiny supply block immediately. I say tiny, but it's actually pretty big. I guess he just called down for depots somewhere, but he's not building any depots at this point.
Yeah, that is a large one indeed.
He's still not building any depots. What is happening?
Very uncharacteristic. It looks like he will... Oh, okay. A snipe onto the tank from Kelazhur, though it costs him a lot of Raven energy. That's gotta be pretty decent.
Okay, calls down for depot again, and now builds 2 depots finally. Obviously, he freed up a little bit of supply when he lost that tank as well, but... Yeah, honestly, I really think this has to do with Kelazhur just sharking around, being active with units. Even if he's not committing, he's distracting his opponent, he's keeping SpeCial busy, and that's just one way to force mistakes out of your opponent.
Yeah, the 2 Ravens are gonna attempt at flying to the main, but instead they're gonna find an SCV and a cancel onto a spotting supply depot, but obviously it does its job of spotting. And with that, SpeCial is gonna feel free to move out onto the map and actually goes for the interference matrix, but he doesn't have enough Marines to take the engagement.
That was a clean snipe by Kelazhur. I love how he just moved those Marines forward immediately. Targeted the Raven. Feels like he's picking up on the fact that there is most likely a drop happening on the right side as well. Kelazhur a bit more to the right. Oh, he barely misses it.
Beautiful spider sense. I mean, you love to see it, but unfortunately for okay, well, there's another couple of barriers here for SpeCial to cross over, and that's gonna be too much. He's gonna be deterred from doing that, and now the army of Kelazhur is in position to punish this medevacs.
Yep, SpeCial is going to unload though, but Kelazhur is already stimming his way forward. Now, unfortunately, he's engaging without his medevac, so that does mean it's going to be an ugly fight, but in the end, he gets one of the medevacs and a few Marines of the second one as well. But at the same time, this has given SpeCial enough time to get a couple of units on the other side of the map. The fort base is being built on location, and there is nothing keeping it safe here.
Yeah, for a second there, SpeCial decided to pull back, but now goes in and finishes that base. This is a really nice move by him. He has already dropped his next command center not on location, so his will be safe. And Kelazhur is now forced to do the same.
Yeah. These are just big W's for SpeCial. I think the main reason it looked really close for a split second is because SpeCial just keeps supply blocking himself. Once again, 157 out of 157. I really do think this has to do with the fact that it's very early. I don't know if you have this as well, but when I wake up, I roll out of bed, I shower, I have a coffee. I was like, let's play some games. I supply block myself like 17 times. And I'm sure that he tried to adjust his sleeping schedule a little bit, but at the end of the day, 7 a.m. is 7 a.m. and I think you're always bound to make a few mistakes you don't normally make.
Most definitely. All right, so SpeCial is going to clear this area as he chooses to take his fourth now. It looks like he's planning to make it into a planetary fortress. 2 medevacs from Kelazhur could have something to say on the matter, where the rest of his army is just kind of in the middle here. There is a similar squad from SpeCial, though, looking to deny that fourth, and a Marine spotting for it.
Yeah, it is really important that Kelazhur is aware of this army. Losing that fort base once hurts, but if you lose it twice, well, that's really not game ending. Now the upgrades finish up, and SpeCial really doesn't have a lot of units over here on the left side. Kelazhur, being decisive as always, just goes for it. Drops an interference matrix as well. Shouldn't commit, don't go back. I don't want to see him go any further. He is going to go further. Okay, another Raven. Maybe?
Yeah, but at the same time, you might be wondering where the units are. Here they are, going into the natural as well as the third. Kelazhur still has enough units at the third, but at the natural, he's going to be forced to lose a lot of SCVs. Cannot leave this command center alone either. SCVs being pulled to fight against Marines. With these 2 Marines in the backline, it looks like it's not going to be enough still for Kelazhur, who has been stalled on the other side of the map.
This wasn't that bad for Kelazhur until he did that. Like, he had a lot of units in the main base, and I think he maybe thought he already sent those Marines to the low ground to help out. Now he just lost 28 SCVs, while he only had to lose 5 or 10, if you ask me. Wants to get a little more done on the other side of the map. I mean, technically mining a bit more at this point, but I mean, the moment that those SCVs start mining again for SpeCial, that's not the case anymore. Oh no, why did he defend like that, Cats?
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult. He was on three fronts at once, right? He was also on aggression, but yeah, his aggression got deflected, and you're completely right, Roddy. I think it was right to just evacuate the natural, deal with one front first, and then consolidate your defenses somewhere else. So yeah, that's a little bit rough. I'm not sure what Kelazhur is gonna do to come back here.
He is slightly ahead in the upgrades, and obviously if you have 3 command centers, right? He's got 3 orbitals and he's got 1 regular command center, so he can technically build 4 SCVs at once. It's not that bad. It was so unnecessary. It was just pure SCVs fighting like 15 skin Marines, and that's never going to be a pretty fight. Sensor tower does get picked up though. Kelazhur just trying to be annoying, turns around, and he had all of his medevacs above his bio army, so it wasn't that bad of a fight at first. He's got 1 tank in the back as well, helping out.
That tank was cloaked by the medevacs, honestly. I did not see it until it started firing there. Really cool.
I didn't see it either.
Yeah. I bet SpeCial didn't see it either, right? Like that's why he must have taken the engagement. So a nice little victory there by Kelazhur, but he's still trailing 22 SCVs behind, so he really needs to capitalize on his army advantage right now.
Did that sensor just get rebuilt already, or was it safe?
Oh.
Well,
what was that, Roddy? I didn't hear you.
I was like, did he already rebuild the sensor tower, or did he save it the first time? I was like, I could have sworn that sensor tower just went down, but now it does actually go down, so that's going to make it a little bit harder for SpeCial to really keep track. He's moving all of his bio units out of position. Kelazhur tries to drop a Marine on top of the tank, and yeah, takes it out in the end.
Yeah, but I mean, doesn't really get any important positioning here from it, as the planetary fortress is still going to be shielded by the extra 2 tanks. And again, I feel like Kelazhur has to make something work. However, as he inches closer to 200 to the max army supply, then he has another possibility, another chance to trade cost effectively here.
Would be nice if he could just take out those rocks. I feel like that would make his life easier. Big Marine fight. +3 is already ready for Kelazhur, so don't mind him committing. Even if he's down a couple Marines, I think the upgrade could make the difference.
Yeah, really nice Liberator for SpeCial, just having the presence of mind, actually 2 of them, but good reaction from Kelazhur on the more important base that's mining. And now those Marines are gonna go deal with the other Liberator as the army of SpeCial also gets pushed back at the north.
Yeah, SpeCial's own +3 for the Marines is almost finishing up, but +3 armor is trailing way behind, so Kelazhur could once again maybe get a little fight going with an army supply advantage. Not sure if he wants to take that fight or not. In the end, he's like, you know what, I do think I can take this fight because I'm 2 upgrades, well, 1 upgrade ahead, now 2 upgrades ahead, and obviously had a couple tanks in the mix.
Yeah, I thought some Marines had been dispatched to deal with that Liberator, but apparently not, and the Liberator is now going to a different base. These 2 tanks are picked up for free, nicely done by SpeCial, and this Liberator is getting too much already. 12 kills to his name, but this is a good engagement and a good concave to start for Kelazhur.
What I love is that SpeCial is often moving around with the Marines only, starts the fight, and then kind of baits his opponent into chasing an army that they really shouldn't chase. And Yeah, these Liberators have indeed done a tremendous job on the right side. Kelazhur needs a victory on the board real soon. This is a bit awkward, but his tanks have sieged up, so he should be able to win this fight, right?
Not if he stands outside of tank range. It's gonna be close, but it looks like it's so close. All right. So kind of an evenish trade, but yeah, kills the tanks of SpeCial and gains some ground as well. It's important ground too for preventing further expanding on that side.
Okay, this army is still in a very awkward spot though, and SpeCial's gonna send a few more units, but not enough. And now Kelazhur has more units coming in from the center. There are just armies clashing with each other everywhere. This is becoming really fun. The problem is that SpeCial can keep doing this for a long time. Kelazhur has still been severely outmined for the last, well, 5-6 minutes in this game. So Kelazhur needs to be very careful with his units.
Yeah, yet still, when he maxes out, he's going to be able to trade efficiently if he gets a good engagement before the tanks are all sieged. So I like the movement that he's doing. Taking out those sensor towers is going to be super important for him to be able to move freely and to not give a heads up so that SpeCial can reposition accordingly.
Yeah, I like how aggressive Kelazhur is, and I like how he's been very active out on the map. He was able to catch a random Liberator in the center as well when he was flying over a couple of Marines. His SCVs on the top side of the map are in a lot of problems. We see a massive fight in the center. The fight is great for Kelazhur, but no, send your orbital command back, please.
Oh, please.
Send it there. Okay, well.
Okay, well, that works too, Roddy. SpeCial instead is going to run some Marines into the tanks, and that's kind of the break that Kelazhur needed. However, that CC is still in danger, and this is why that's going on, is because these Liberators are causing havoc to the front lines of Kelazhur, now forced to pull back, but this is a much closer game than the mech games in this bio versus bio game.
These are the kind of TVTs that we were expecting and hoping as well when these two go up against each other in the grand finals of a tournament. Kelazhur obviously still trailing, but if he can just spend his money, he's absolutely still in it. It is a miracle that Orbital Command was alive, because it absolutely never turned around. It just flew straight into those 15 to 18 Marines, but because of the massive fight in the bottom left side, I think SpeCial was a bit distracted as well.
Yes, indeed. SpeCial looking a little bit stronger out on the map. Just by looking at the blue versus the red, I feel like he's a little bit more established out there. Like his expansions are a little bit more spread out at this point, and obviously a little bit more saturated as well. These Liberators continue to do damage, but Kelazhur now trying to react as well and punch back, though the reaction of SpeCial was incredibly fast.
Oh, the SCVs are in a bit of trouble as well. Oh my goodness. 16 going down. Kelazhur doesn't have any Marines at this point. That's the biggest problem. He only has 39 Marines, while SpeCial has 61.
Gonna have to split some of these Marines. Good control here on the Planetary Fortress by SpeCial. Just focus firing the large clumps of Marines, and this is more losses that Kelazhur can barely afford to take at this point.
Yep, but he does have a lot of tanks, and maybe he can get a great fight with the tanks, but tanks need to siege up. They do siege up in the end. But Kelazhur is still taking losses at home, still losing more SCVs, only has 55 at this point. SpeCial's gonna siege a couple of tanks on the high ground as well. There is no buffer for the tanks of Kelazhur, but they do clean up quite a few of the Marines of SpeCial.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a fantastic trade for SpeCial now, who is so far ahead economically. Actually, Kelazhur kind of keeping up somewhat, but still, I mean, lagging something like 15 SCVs is not ideal. No. So SpeCial actually concedes enough ground for Kelazhur to siege this position. If those SCVs could be taken down, but they won't be.
Tanks have big range, but unfortunately not that big. SpeCial has a new Raven, or actually a couple of Ravens in the mix now already. So he's getting ready to transition into the next phase of this TVT, while Kelazhur is just hoping he can still build a few more Marines. The tanks have not sieged up, and that means that SpeCial gets a pretty decent trade. At least a couple auto turrets make it even more complicated for Kelazhur. It's hard.
Yeah, the choke was good for Kelazhur, but it looks like SpeCial just has so much, and he can afford to take some of these trades not perfectly efficiently. And now with the tank flank, I don't say that very often, but it looks like enough Marines here from SpeCial are gonna push on forward and clear most of it at least.
Yeah, I mean, heavy losses on both sides actually, but yeah, once again, SpeCial has been mighty more. Oh, loses that medevac with those 5 Marines inside of it as well. Those are nice little victories for Kelazhur, who is actually a slightly bigger army at this point. And SpeCial was the one with 61 Marines. He lost all of them. Kelazhur actually has a few more Marines right now, but what a game, what a TVT. This is the kind of stuff we want to see in the grand finals of the Latin American DreamHack SC2 Masters.
Absolutely beautiful from Kelazhur, just clawing his way back into this one. He's holding on for dear life, and he's doing a great job of it. I mean, he is only trailing now 10 workers behind. And yeah, this is not looking so bad. I mean, SpeCial heavily oversaturated on his outer bases as well, so it's not like income-wise he's got a great lead. In fact, Kelazhur is mining a little bit more as far as gas is concerned, at least.
Yeah, Kelazhur technically has more mineral patches left to mine from as well, because obviously SpeCial was the one with the better economy for the majority of this game. So if they don't secure any new bases, then Kelazhur should actually be able to mine quite a bit more. Now, SpeCial is the one who's ahead in the transition, though, right? He already has 3 extra Ravens. They have that Corvid reactor upgrade as well. So Kelazhur is going to have to respect that. But hey, we've got one hell of a game on our hands, and it feels Kelazhur is just one victory away from, one more little fight victory away from potentially winning this game. Gets 10 SCVs, but still heavy's oversaturation for that base.
Yeah, almost want to thank him if you're SpeCial at that point. You're like, yeah, I didn't need those 10. So, yeah, let's see what Kelazhur is able to accomplish. He does have good map coverage with those sensor towers out there. He has done, like you were pointing out earlier, a great job of keeping out on the map. Not an easy thing to do, especially against a player like SpeCial. To keep up with him is just a very tall order. So let's see what Kelazhur can do. I would love to see him put one on the board.
Yeah, like I said, it really does feel he just needs to win one more fight. He has to be careful.
This might be it.
Interference Matrix maybe, and the armor Mr. Snipes the Ravens, but loses all of his Marines. And that can't possibly be good. Now it's just a couple of tanks left by themselves. Those will get cleaned up as well. Kelazhur, do you have a few more units to fall back to? He's got 4 tanks and 20 Marines.
All right. Oh, the one tank that was in range that could have dealt with this tank very promptly is actually disabled right away. I kind of like what Kelazhur went for there, trying to snipe the Ravens before they got to the tanks. But unfortunately, so much damage output from the army of SpeCial in terms of Marines just clears his Marines in turn so fast. And now SpeCial with a very strong position forward.
Yeah, Kelazhur kind of holds though, right? SpeCial's going to take out these rocks, and I think that's an excellent choice. Scans go down. Obviously, there are sensor towers covering the movement of SpeCial here. Does have a 20 supply army advantage. Moves forward, and the armor missile lands on the Marines as well.
Yeah, 2 Ravens get taken out, make it all 3. But like you said, with those anti-armor missiles on them, the Marines have to be very hesitant to fight. So let's see what SpeCial can do here. He has to move a little bit faster, or at least he would want to. Oh, Liberators are just not the play. They don't have any tanks to defend, and it looks like it's going to be too much. SpeCial takes a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, a 22-minute game on Oxide. A really fun one as well, where it did feel like a little back and forth, and it felt that Kelazhur was this close to actually securing a lead, but he never truly got there. We're going to head over to a very quick break, and after that, we'll be back with Game 4 of the Grand Finals of DreamHack Masters StarCraft 2 Latin America.
Bienvenidos, welcome back. We are here for the grand finals of Latin America. We had a great game last time around, but still it's SpeCial leading 3-0, Roddy. This is looking extremely difficult for the Brazilian to claw back into.
Yeah, I think at this point you just kind of want to get at least 1 or 2 maps on the board for yourself to feel a bit better about the performance in the grand finals. But thinking of winning the entire tournament when you're down 0-3, yeah, that's going to be a tall order, a real stretch. You know, Cats, for me, the most key moment in that previous game was just the way that he dealt with those 16-18 Marines in his natural, right? There was a lot of craziness happening, and Kelazhur made a lot of great choices. And it's obviously impossible to be perfect, you know, on 3 different sides on the map. But I really think what happened there is that he thought he's probably selected a bunch of units that were in his main, send them to the low ground. He's like, all right, I'll send the SCVs, and then my units will clean it up. But it was just SCVs fighting like 16 Stim Marines, and it was just a slaughter. Never a fair fight. And I feel Kelazhur, from that point on, was always fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. That's just not a fair fight at all. There was 2 Marines that joined in to help, but against like something like 16, I mean, that's just going to take a while. And yeah, I think that Kelazhur maybe should have prioritized that. Just evacuating the SCVs, I think, would have been fine. Difficult to blame him because he was like we were talking about, like attacking and defending his third at the same time too. But yeah, I'm completely with you. Kelazhur, I mean, played a great game, most of it from behind, and yeah, I'm hoping for a better one here, or a win rather. You know, a converted one.
You know, if that was just an entire mineral line, it would be bad. But it wouldn't even be this bad. But now it was like 2 mineral lines, right? Because one of the other bases was evacuated to the natural as well. So he had like 30 SCPs there. And it's like, no, that's just a bit too much. Anyways, here we go for hopefully not the final game, but could potentially be. In the bottom left side, look at the main base of the Brazilian Terran. He's down 0-3 and needs a miracle to win his entire tournament. It is Kelazhur.
It'll take 4 miracles in a row to take it away from this man who has won just about every Latin American tournament for the last, I don't know how many years. It is Exxon's SpeCial.
Yeah.
An unenthusiastic camera zoom then. I saw it now. It's like, yeah, it's SpeCial. He's winning everything again.
Obviously, SpeCial is doing a fantastic business when it comes to the global EPT standings as well. I mean, I don't know if that's really the right way to say it, but SpeCial has like 1,200 EPT points at this point. It's going to secure a few more over here. I mean, weird things have to happen for Juanito not to make it to Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2021. We don't know, you know, when it happens, how it happens, but we still plan on having a global finals, guys.
Yes, indeed. Now, Juanito was the one that went for the barracks, or actually, he just went for a very quick factory and a reactor onto the barracks. So, Kelazhur with the faster command center, Roddy, for once. Can he hold on to it?
I mean, it's a massive map, so I don't really see any reason why he wouldn't be able to hold on to it. Ooh. The big question is, how many SCVs is he going to lose against the first actual aggression that SpeCial will throw his way?
Yeah, this is actually pretty spicy on the side of SpeCial as well, with the extra Reapers being produced from a reactor. So we might see a double Hellion triple Reaper move out here to try and apply some pressure. If Kelazhur doesn't have a forward bunker, things might get a little bit dicey. At least he needs to be out on the map to kind of see it coming and react.
Medevac opening as well. All of this of one base. So yeah, SpeCial really bringing the heat. Even queuing up 2 more Reapers. Ooh. Well, let's hope that this Widowmine gets a fantastic shot. And I kind of like the positioning there. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Oh,
I love it.
You love it, and I'm nervous though.
How are you nervous? I mean, it'll either catch Reapers, maybe multiple Reapers, but it also stands a chance to catch the medevac that we know is coming. I don't know. Would you place it anywhere else, Roddy, if you had to place it right now?
Yeah, on top of my barracks, because it's kind of invisible there.
True. Yeah, that would also be a way to do it. All right, here comes the big attack from Juanito. This is an attack that needs to do a lot of damage. He is expanding behind it. He's not completely all in. But if he does not do damage with this, it is the game where Kelazhur could roll. The medevac is going to take a huge hit from the Widowmine.
Yeah, but it doesn't get the kill, though. Yeah, okay. Cyclone lock on the medevac means the medevac does go down immediately. I gotta say, Kelazhur's units are looking pretty good. In the end, a couple of them fall, but this gotta be more than good enough for Diego.
Yeah, just a massive hold there. And I'm not sure if the Widowmine actually ended up being good or bad, because I feel like the Cyclone still deals with the medevac. But this is more than enough for Kelazhur to get in a very good position in this game.
Yeah, I think it's very good because I think the medevac gives a lot of utility and like allows that push to stay around for a lot longer, heal up the Reapers as well, and then things can really snowball. But without the medevac, well, then all of a sudden Specialist units run out of HP rather quickly as well, because obviously Reapers don't regenerate in combat. So I think it was great. I think the medevac, the Widowmine connecting to the medevac may arguably have been the best thing that could have happened, even better than just killing a Reaper or something.
Yeah, I mean, definitely than killing a Reaper. Yeah, I am with you, actually. Now that you say it, I think that it's a pretty good move in the sense that, there's no micro potential and obviously no healing coming out of it. Kelazhur is going to move out with the tank and gonna try to poke here as he drops his third command center, which is really what I wanted to see here from him. Kind of leverage his advantage and try to push it forward rather than leaning on it and trying to end the game and potentially handing it back to Special.
Yeah, the only thing that makes me sad is that he's building it in his main. I would have loved to see him just build it on the low ground, knowing that he's in a good spot. That tank gets a massive shot off though, and Special loses 3 Marines immediately. Interference Matrix will disable that tank. Oh, but the Raven of Kelazhur dropped the Interference Matrix as well, and that means that the tank of Kelazhur is now going to have to fight 2 tanks. What is happening, Cats?
Need those Marines from Kelazhur, I think, to engage. I think he had enough DPS to break through Special there, but was not paying attention, and those 5 Marines were not shooting. All right, yet still, it's a good position for Kelazhur for sure. He is taking that third base that we were talking about, though Special is not far behind, actually.
No, that's why I really wish that he would have built it on location, especially if he's the one moving out anyway.
Yeah.
And, bringing the fight to Special side of the map.
You're completely right. I mean, there's no reason for that other than maybe he had the 400 resources when he had them. Okay, this is a nice poke with the auto turrets, though, Roddy. Evacuating a full mineral line, getting 3-4 SCVs, not bad.
Yeah, this is a fantastic start for Kelazhur. Has now created a 12-worker advantage for himself. And that's obviously something we haven't seen yet in this grand finals. Very well done. The one game where Special decides to be the aggressor early on, it just completely backfires. And I guess those defensive expand builds are really powerful.
Yeah, it really looks that way, doesn't it? These players are so good positionally. Now Special with a big move out. And actually Kelazhur with the scan trying to get the latch onto that tank. But good micro from Special to keep it alive. And this is still a very scary push. Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Those Ravens still have energy.
Yep, the Ravens just dove into the main base one more time. Do they have energy for one more auto turret? Yes, they do. So we could drop a single auto turret here in the natural. I would have liked to see him drop it a little bit more in the center rather than all the way on the edge in between the refineries. But hey, still gets a few more SCV kills, so it's all good. Kelazhur is now 17 workers ahead. If he doesn't mess up defensively, this is definitely his game.
Yeah, it's going to be still a little bit difficult because he doesn't have the Raven energy to rely on, whereas Special has a lot of energy on those 2 Ravens, so he can definitely disable and push on forward against these tanks. The Viking count is not favorable for Kelazhur either, so he's just going to take shelter with his Marines as Special crawls closer.
I do think it is, though. He's got 6 Vikings against the 5 of Special. And obviously this map is pretty large, so these Vikings defensively pop out a little bit quicker. I think Kelazhur should be more than fine. And you can see that Special is a little bit hesitant to engage the Vikings of Kelazhur.
Yeah, Special is going to have to sit back behind his Marines now. And like you were saying, with the next 2 Vikings popping out, it's going to be no contest. The energy on the Ravens isn't enough to make this push work, and Special is just going to retreat back to his third.
Will Kelazhur just let him get home, though? Look at these Vikings. They're sharking, looking for some shots. And both Ravens go down on the side of Special. Very well done by Kelazhur. What did he lose there? A single Viking for 2 Ravens with energy? That's pretty sick.
Yeah, I think, well, one of the Ravens survived, but yeah. Might as well have gone down with a little bit of micro there from Kelazhur. We have Kelazhur situating his third base as Special sharks on to that side of the map. But he's going to struggle to find anything, though. Oh, actually, here is the commitment from Special.
Well, that's not great Viking movement, as the Vikings is kind of chilling there above auto turrets. So now the second Raven on the side of Special did go down as well. Still more HP on the Vikings of Kelazhur, so this should be a very winnable fight. A random Viking got taken out by Marines as well on the left side. And now all that's left for SpeCial is a couple of tanks that are going to kill each other here.
Yeah, and there's no actual vision on the high ground, so the Marines can get very close to them really fast, and SpeCial wants nothing to do with the rest of this game as he has a few lives remaining.
That was a beautiful game by Kelazhur. Very well done. Just great defense early on. I do think the Widowmine defense is a little hit or miss, right? It's not perhaps the most reliable defense, but I think getting that much damage on the medevac and then the Cyclone just finishing the medevac off immediately made it so much easier for Diego to stabilize and basically secure a lead.
Yeah, most definitely. I could have sworn that SpeCial dropped a second barracks. I'm not sure if he canceled it or if I'm crazy, but maybe I thought Kelazhur kind of poked in, and maybe SpeCial thought that Kelazhur had seen the barracks, but he hadn't. So I'm not sure. Maybe Mapu can help me out on this. But yeah, regardless, a very good start from Kelazhur, and finally managing to find that snowball. He's gonna find 1 point in this series. He's gonna need 3 more to take it home now.
I love that little skirmish they had in the natural SpeCial where I was like, interference matrix, so I'll move my tank forward, but then the counter interference matrix, so by the time that and then like we saw another counter and then the second tank is moving, it's like, okay, this is where I'm zoning out, you know. I've been watching way too many StarCraft units move around today, like my brain can't go here, but I know great moves are being made.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. I feel like Kelazhur could have engaged with the Marines there and taking a little bit of a lead because his tank was coming off cooldown earlier, basically, so he had he was gonna have the first shot available, and he had a few more Marines. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a really cool skirmish. Now, does Kelazhur have it in the tank though to make a comeback against Juanito? I'm not sure, man.
Momentum is a real thing in StarCraft 2, is what I always say. It's really funny how you can all of a sudden see players fly and just play better than we normally see them play. And even if you have a 3-0 lead, if you just drop one map, I know that SpeCial is a veteran, so he's probably not really going through these motions, but I know that if I'm like up 3-0 and I lose a map, I'm like, oh my god, reverse sweep, isn't it? It's like, you know, this is a very silly thing to think about when you still have a 2-map buffer, but you know, there's always that little bit of a momentum shift. But I do think we're going to see very different approach from SpeCial in the next game. He probably looked at it as like, I had this one wild build up my sleeve. I tried to end it. It didn't work. Let's just go back to the basics and do what I do best. And that is probably a slightly more defensive approach.
Yeah, that is probably mech. We also have, I think, some of the smaller maps remaining. I would imagine that makes it easier for mech to kind of push and cover space and kind of expand and attack and defend at the same time, kind of on some maps like Submarine.
Yeah.
So I think that will be nice. However, the next map is going to be Death Aura. This is a bigger map where Bio can still find a lot of room. The fourth is not particularly close. So, yeah, I feel like Kelazhur could make something work. It's clear to me, though, Roddy, that Kelazhur's not willing to go mech, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's never really been a mech guy, and that's kind of why I love Kelazhur. There's never a dull game with Diego. He loves to attack. He loves to trade. That man wants to see blood on either side. I like, even though this is a larger map, I do feel it's a pretty good map for a mech. Like, I've seen plenty of players do it because I think it's so easy to go up to 3 bases when you just go for the triangle setup. And then once you have 3 bases up and running, you get a bunch of tanks and Vikings, then I think it's relatively easy to take that 4th base on the left side or right side of your natural as well. So,
okay,
I wouldn't be surprised to see SpeCial play mech and Kelazhur play Bio.
Alrighty, let's see if that is what the players go for as we are now once again loading into the map. There we go. And spawning in the top left-hand side of the map, 1 life remaining for him. It is the red Terran player do Brazil. It is Kelazhur.
And in the bottom right side, we look at the main base of the Mexican Terran player who's trying to close it out and win all 3 Masters events of Latin America. This is SpeCial.
Alright, it seems like double gas openers are the theme of this TVT as well. I'm a Cirque player, Roddy, so whenever I see people take gases, I feel bad. I'm like, oh my god, you're not gonna be rich.
Yeah, I actually have that a bit as well. Where it's like, this doesn't seem good economically at all, right?
Yeah.
But then I think of Big Guy, and he's like, yeah, double gas really safe. And I'm like,
Yeah. Especially with Terran though, like it feels like their gas doesn't scale, but they really need it early on to get all their production situated. So let's see what goes from this. It looks like neither player is adding an extra barracks, at least early on. So pretty standard opening here.
And neither player has CV scouting, so then I do think the double gas opening makes a bit more sense, right? Like you don't really need to SCV scout if you are opening up double gas, going Reaper factory in your main. Like this is pretty safe. Only a misplay could really bring you in trouble.
Yeah, a minor thing, but I think that Kelazhur's factory is actually out of range if there was an SCV poking, whereas Specials isn't. Obviously not gonna come into play, but a pretty cool detail for Terran players looking to see where to place your buildings, right? You never want to give any information away if you don't have to.
This kind of reminds me of the first game that these two had against each other, where on the Momentous side, where they both kind of just sent their Reaper forward as well. Kelazhur spots the command set and knows exactly what's up, and now turns his Reaper around, and he's like,
What?
maybe I can catch the Reaper of Special somewhere.
Both players actually doing the exact same thing, Roddy. Both players turning around without even attempting to go for the SCV. Now Kelazhur will catch the Reaper of Special, but
fast.
it is too fast to move through that speed zone, as the other Reaper that was intended to sandwich him does not arrive in time. However, Kelazhur does have more HP to work with on those Reapers, but now there's a Helion out for Special.
Yep, and Reapers obviously do regenerate, so I like what Kelazhur tried to do there. I actually do think that he would have been able to pick up the SCV, right? The first one before the second Reaper popped, because he sent his first Reaper to the other side of the map so quickly. But now he's still gonna go for it. The Reaper does, or did regenerate to full HP at the final second before that fight started. So Kelazhur will disengage, and I think that's the right call.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, because Kelazhur just went straight to Special, whereas Special took a detour to not get his Reaper scouted. So Kelazhur, knowing that he was first to the goal, I guess, could have maybe committed. Yet still, it would have been a pretty minor victory. He is still looking for scouting information with these two Reapers. They will get found, but will they be able to survive? One does. We'll see the starport, but I mean, this looks like a pretty standard setup for the most part.
Yeah, that's a bit of a sacrifice. I think if those Reapers show up like either a second earlier or 3 seconds later, then maybe both of them can actually hop into the main base full on HP, and then there is a good chance that you can grab 2 or 3 SCVs for yourself. So a tad unlucky there for Kelazhur, I'd say.
Yeah, Special, I love what he's doing. He identifies that he has map control. He's not just going to use it to move out, but also to drop that third own location. And with Kelazhur here pinned back, Special is looking to do a little bit more damage. Not going to find much, but a Helion for free is not nothing.
No, but don't lose your own Cyclone, though. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, Special loses all of the useless units, I'd say, but keeps his Cyclone alive. You got to be pretty happy with that. Don't forget that there is a Banshee follow-up as well. So losing that Cyclone is actually extra painful, because the Cyclone is a unit you really dream of, right, in defending against Banshees.
It is incredibly good, and this Banshee is gonna arrive now. Kelazhur is making 2 Vikings at a time, so maybe anticipating that this could be a possibility, but it's not on his mind right this second, and he's gonna have to evacuate. Maybe the Raven will be forced to use some energy just to zone this Banshee and resume mining. Perhaps the Marines are here now, but they have a little bit to travel before they engage.
I mean, sick play by Special to really just prioritize killing the Cyclone, knowing obviously that his Banshee will have way more potential if he takes out the Cyclone of Kelazhur. In the end, this Banshee will go down, but not before. There was quite a bit of lost mining time, and 7 SCV, 8 SCVs going down. Fantastic start for Special.
Really good. I'm not using the cloak. I mean, props to Kelazhur for saving his Raven energy, not really panicking, but 8 SCVs is a little bit too much. 2 Cyclones out on the map of Special as well. So anything that comes down this ramp will get taxed a couple of units.
Yep, lock on. Yep, that's -2 Marines immediately. And don't forget that Special, his command center, was way earlier than one of Kelazhur. Was built on location. On top of that, Kelazhur playing it much safer, building the CC in his main base. He was really not supposed to take that much damage against the opening that Special went for.
Yeah, not at all. And now we have Kelazhur trying to play catch up. He has 2 Vikings heading to the other side of the map and a Raven as well. Actually, it looks like the Raven might hit the 3rd, though it will be spotted by the 1 Marine of SpeCial. Kelazhur turns away from the Marine as soon as he sees it, so there's a chance that SpeCial didn't see the Raven. At the same time, the Vikings are likely to land in the natural base, and that might be good enough, though this Raven is likely to be found too, Roddy.
Yeah. I want to find a silver lining in all of this, but I'm not really getting it. I guess +1 is a little bit quicker for Kelazhur, but
Yeah.
he really needs some magical victories across the board. And I don't know how we're going to get that. 8 SCVs down, only now landing his orbital. I don't know what you do here other than maybe Kelazhur should go against what he normally does, and that is just turtle a little bit and hope that SpeCial overcommits. But to make things even worse, Kelazhur is now supply blocked, no depots on the way. Could maybe call down 4 depots, which is exactly what he does, but none of these things really help him.
Yeah, not at all. I really like the move by SpeCial as well, not really chasing the Raven or looking for it with the 1 Marine that spotted it. So he knows that if Kelazhur pulled away, Kelazhur thinks that the Raven may not have been spotted, and then goes and hunts for it. So just really, really cool moves from SpeCial, who is making his way out on the map onto a weakened Kelazhur. It's gonna be difficult to stabilize. Silver lining, Roddy, maybe that SpeCial is playing bio again. That was a pretty good game before.
Yeah, that was a really good game. Once again, Kelazhur losing a few more SCVs. Does spin this Raven to the back of his main base. He's going to be able to take it out with all of his Vikings. I don't think SpeCial should obviously try to make anything happen here. He doesn't have to. Like, if this is fake aggression, I think it's perfect. It's just SpeCial really doesn't need to commit to any fight at this point.
Yeah, I would like to see a 4th on location at this point, and maybe nothing else from this army. Kelazhur is pinned back pretty badly, and it's going to be difficult for him to walk down these ramps. There is the 4th on location from SpeCial, but one thing that Kelazhur did do really fast is to drop his 4th base, and I think this was the catch-up mechanic for him, so that's nice. The Vikings of SpeCial seem to have a plan to kind of do a hit squad attack in the main.
Snipe an eBay?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, maybe just land in the SCV line first. This is pretty sick. Just casually 8 Vikings flying into the main base. 6 more SCVs go down, but can they get out? Obviously, there's always a little bit of a moment where they can't fire back. Marines are going to help out as well. I'm not sure if that was totally worth it. I mean, you get 6 SCVs, but you lose 8 Vikings.
Yeah, he's gonna take some Vikings with him, and at the same time, SpeCial has used this opportunity to move out on the map, so he is now actually right at the natural of Kelazhur. This is a very annoying position, so making work with those Vikings. And now, I mean, these tanks are gonna be difficult to move from here. They're gonna siege one of these gases. And,
I'm actually surprised that
good.
command center left, Cats. I actually thought that was going to die.
Yeah, I guess there's not that much bio on the ground. There is no medevacs either on the side of SpeCial, and obviously no Vikings anymore. But this looks pretty powerful. I'm not sure though. He needs a lot of scan basically to continue pushing, right?
I almost wish that Kelazhur would have just immediately sent his command center to 9 o'clock. Instead, he's gonna drop a couple of Marines on the tanks on the top side. Didn't really work out, as none of those tanks did go down, and a lot of damage was taken on the 2 medevacs on the side of Kelazhur, who's starting to float some money. Like, oh, he needs a victory. He doesn't have... Okay, he does have an army. He just didn't start his upgrades.
Also, SpeCial knows where the Vikings are, and so he knows where the Vikings are not, obviously, as 3 medevacs will make their way into Kelazhur's main and punish the positioning. Once again, there is one tank that's gonna make things a little bit difficult for SpeCial, and actually Liberators very promptly, as soon as Kelazhur identifies that he does have that air lead here.
Yeah, 26 SCVs have gone down for Kelazhur at this point. Only a single SCV has gone down for SpeCial. That eBay is taking a lot of damage. It's very important that he repairs it. But look at the mini-map. SpeCial's playing such a dynamic TVT right now as he's stepping up this ramp as well. Grabs those 3 tanks still. Oh my goodness. Juanito's angry and he is playing some insane TVT here.
Yeah, and with no AoE, I think these Marines are gonna have their way, and the champion is crowned once again. Excellent.